وجه څه و چې طالبانو سره ځای شوې؟
د کفارو ظلمونه کول،
د کفارو
زموږ مجاهد دا وطنیان مسلمان یې شهیدانولو منبر یې پرکاوه، نو بیا زه راولاړ شوم چې بعدا په دا دوی په مقدغه کې بیا موږ بیا دا جهاد شروع کړي چې یوه څه ولاړ.
ښه، د څه وخته به ته جهاد کوې؟
د را وسات یې کوو چې زموږ یو مؤمن ژوندی چې پنځه یې هم پکې ختمېږي، که مزبان یې هغه هم پکې ختمېږي، که معجزه یې هغه ده، که جهاد په الله کې ختمېږي.
Down here, among the ordinary soldiers who live at Kandahar airfield, the troops are told that the people they're fighting, the Taliban, are basically just mercenaries, people who take money for the day to do a job and fight the Canadians. But it's confusing for the average soldier because the average soldier can see the Taliban throwing themselves at them in often very suicidal situations. The Taliban very rarely win a firefight. And so the Canadians have to ask themselves, why are these guys so committed? Why are they so eager to fight? And when we were asking the Taliban about this, we focused on two basic things: how they defend their own lives, their families' lives, and also their livelihoods, how they get money. And that meant asking them about two things: bombings and poppy. Because bombings are a really sore point for the Taliban. They feel as though they are often under attack by aircraft, and the death of civilians in aerial bombings are used as a justification for the war. And the second part of that is that a lot of these guys farm poppy. They have an illegal opium business, and that's how the majority of the money comes into this country. And so that's how they make their livelihoods.
ستاسو دوستانو تاریخ کړی؟
کړی.
حکومت یې وخت ستاسو تاریخ ته مات کړی دی؟
رامات کړی.
د اسلام په باب د تاریخ په باب څه نظر لري؟
اسلام د نظر خو دا چې دی آرام دی، خو اوس ماته شپانه چې د اقتصادي ستونزو له کبله نو موږ کارو.
So we decided to look more closely at these two things, the bombings and the poppy, as sources of motivation for the Taliban. And one of the really interesting things we found is that about a third of the people that we talked to said that some of their family members had died in bombings or in crossfire from the coalition troops. And that's a pretty high level of violence. The average Afghan has not experienced even that, despite all the horrible things that have happened here in Afghanistan. And you start to see a real correspondence between people who have been bombed and people who are fighting. And in fact, in some cases, people said that they joined the Taliban after their families had been bombed. Now, the Taliban like to say that they're fighting a religious war, that this has nothing to do with revenge. But there's actually an ancient tribal code here called Pashtunwali that existed long before Islam, long before the religion in this country, that says you have to take revenge for the sake of your family's honor. You must defend your family for the sake of your tribe. And that actually is, I think, an important source of motivation, defending their lives, just like defending their livelihoods in the sense of poppy, because with the poppies we found that of course, you know, the vast majority of the people we spoke to are involved in the opium business. But one of the interesting results was that more than half of the people we talked to said that they had suffered some kind of eradication. They had their fields had been targeted by government teams who were cutting down the opium crop. And that's really unusual because eradication is not so widespread here in the south. And that means there's some kind of correlation between the eradicators coming in and the Taliban being there. Now, it's a bit of a chicken and egg thing. Do they join the Taliban because they're eradicated, or do they get eradicated because they're Taliban? But I think when you look at, for instance, what's been happening here in Afghanistan in the last week or so, the eradication teams went into Helmand province, and all of a sudden my friends who are security analysts were asking, why are we seeing so much violence in Helmand? And I say, well, follow the eradication teams. That's where they are, and so that's where the violence is. So clearly there's some kind of connection there. And I think that what you can draw from all this is that in many cases these young men feel forced to fight. Whether they are in fact forced to fight or not is another question, but they feel that way. They feel that they're forced to fight to defend their lives and also their livelihoods.